Hello everyone, let us continue with our PT365 current affairs series. This is the part 2 of environment section. I recommend anyone who has not watched the part 1 video, previous video, please do watch it first, then come to this section, because in that video we have discussed the static background of environment section, how there are various sections in this environment subject for both prelims and mains, and how previous year questions are being asked from various sections. We have already discussed that in previous section, because this static structure is linked to our present PT365 structure. Okay, so like every class, I'm telling you the source of this class is PDF downloaded from the Vision IAS website. I am only preparing the explanation and previous year questions linkage and static portion linkage. So in previous class, we have seen till this IUCN World Conservation Congress. So in previous class, we have seen IUCN World Conservation Congress. Then we have seen key instruments of IUCN in use. Then we have seen green status assessment for the lion. Okay, let us continue with our next topic, which is UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So UNESCO designated the Cold Network Biosphere Reserve in India to the UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So let us see the background first. It is talking about something called Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve in India, which is added to something called UNESCO, United Nations Education, Scientific, Cultural Organization, World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Okay, so let us see the background first. So we all know there are many animals and plants on earth. This is what we call biological diversity, or simply put, biodiversity. Now humans are doing various kinds of activities like mining, road projects, infrastructure projects, industries, so much pollution and destruction of habitats of this wildlife. So it is resulting in deaths of many animals, loss of biodiversity in various ecosystems. See, ecosystems are very diverse. Take Western Ghats, high mountains with a dense forest. Take Himalayas, high mountains without much vegetation or trees. Take Thar Desert, plain area, non-fertile, no trees, nothing. Take plains of Ganga Brahmaputra area, highly fertile plain area. Okay, so we have diverse ecosystems and there are coastal systems, and diverse ecosystems have diverse animals and plant species in it. And we are doing all these activities: mining, tourism, infrastructure projects, industries, etc. And these are killing animals in various ecosystems. So to protect the wildlife and the nature and to balance development with the conservation of this wildlife, we have two objectives, two conflicting objectives. On one side we have to develop, but on the other side we have this moral responsibility, and even we have this necessity to protect biological diversity, because all animals are dependent on each other, all species including plants are dependent on each other. If plants die, we don't have food. Okay, so to maintain the balance and also to have the progress in human society, we need to balance development with conservation. This is what we call sustainable development. So to achieve goals like this, UNESCO, this UN organization, has started something called Man and Biosphere Program. So under Man and Biosphere Program, which started in 1971, they do some research like what are the threats to this natural wildlife, what are various kinds of threat, what are the needs of the development, and how to balance these two. They do some research, they come up with some guidelines. So it is an intergovernment scientific program. Intergovernment scientific program means various governments come together and they develop this initiative. And this is the theory part. Now, how do they implement these guidelines to balance this conservation and development? See here, the objective is balancing conservation and development. They do this through World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Okay, this initiative of World Network of Biosphere Reserves started in 1976 after 5 years of establishment of Man and Biosphere Program. So all the theory they will put into practice here. It is the implementation arm. So what is this World Network of Biosphere Reserve? Throughout the world, they will establish something called Biosphere Reserves. It is a network of these biosphere reserves. So with this network of biosphere reserves, where the guidelines of how to balance our development needs with natural preservation is implemented. So what is the impact till now? Because from 1976 we are implementing this World Network Biosphere Reserves. Till now, UNESCO has recognized 785 biospheres across the world. Out of these 785, 13 are recognized inside India. See, Indian government can recognize. Indian government till now has recognized 18 biosphere reserves. Indian government can recognize any number of biosphere reserves on its land. But UNESCO puts some conditions, and UNESCO has some minimum requirements. Only those requirements which biosphere reserve meets those requirements, only they are recognized by the UNESCO. So out of 18 recognized by Indian government, only 13 recognized by UNESCO. So 5 are still not yet recognized by UNESCO, yet to be recognized. Okay, and what is the benefit of this recognition? Like we may receive some donations, or we may receive some loans to develop this biosphere reserves, etc. There are some benefits, but there are also some conditions. Like UNESCO puts some conditions. You should ban mining. You should ban intense agriculture inside the core area, etc. So when we meet those conditions, they will designate it, and with the designation comes some benefit. So this is how it gets operated. So let us see this. So in 1971, as I was telling you, something called Man and Biosphere Program, which is an intergovernment scientific program, was established by this UNESCO. Under this Man and Biosphere Program, in 1976, they have established something called World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Till now, only 12 were added to the list. Now the present news is 13th one got added. Okay, that is the present news. 13th one, cold desert got added. That is the current news. See here, see the map. So from top to bottom across India, we have many biospheres. In total, there are 18 biospheres recognized by Government of India. Out of these, only some are recognized by UNESCO. See here, whatever asterisk mark is having adjacent it is recognized by UNESCO. Anything that is not having asterisk mark like this Sashachalam, it is not recognized by UNESCO. Okay. See here, cold desert, it is in Himachal Pradesh. See this Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, it is in Uttarakhand. See this Kutch Biosphere Reserve, it is in Gujarat. It is not recognized by UNESCO, as you can see. Then there is Pachmarhi, which is in Madhya Pradesh. Then there is Panna Biosphere Reserve, which is also in Madhya Pradesh. Then there is Achanakmar Amarkantak. It is touching both Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh here. Then there is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, touching Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka. Then there is Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve across Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Okay. Then Kanchenjunga in Sikkim. Then Manas Biosphere Reserve in Assam. Then there is Dibru Saikhowa again in Assam. Then there is Dehang Debang in Arunachal Pradesh. You can see Dehang Debang is also not recognized here. Manas also not recognized. Okay. Dibru Saikhowa is also not recognized. Nokrek in Meghalaya is recognized by UNESCO. It is Nokrek Biosphere Reserve in Meghalaya. Then we have Sundarbans in West Bengal. Then we have Simplipal in Odisha. Then we have Shashachalam in Andhra Pradesh, which is also not recognized. Then we have Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve. Then we have Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay. So 5 were not recognized, which is Kutch in Gujarat, Shashachalam in Andhra Pradesh, Manas in Assam, Dibru Saikhowa in Assam, Dehang Debang in Assam. Okay. So these are 5 biosphere reserves which are yet to be recognized. Rest 13 are already recognized. Then there is one important news. Sao Tome and Principe. It is a small island nation, small island country just adjacent to African continent. It has become the first state to have its entire territory, full territory designated as a biosphere reserve. Okay, entire territory. I'll show you the map. So you can see here, this is the map of Sao Tome and Principe. So it is a country adjacent to Africa. This entire country, this entire island nation, recognized as Biosphere Reserve by UNESCO. Okay. So this can be asked in prelims. Okay. It can come as mapping, or it can come as direct current affairs question. Then how are these biosphere reserves designated under Man and Biosphere Program? So here they have given only methodology, how it is recognized and how it is managed. Okay, so it is factual, you can just skim through. So there is something called International Coordination Council of this Man and Biosphere Reserve. It takes decisions about which biosphere reserve across the world needs to be recognized. Then Director General of UNESCO designates it. He gives the official designation. And they use 2 methodologies to manage these biosphere reserves. One is Seville strategy. What is this Seville strategy? Seville is a city in Spain. So when they have met for some purpose to discuss on these biosphere reserves in this city of Spain, they have come up with a strategy called Seville strategy. Okay, nothing more is needed. Okay, just know that there is a Seville strategy. It is related to biosphere reserves. If prelims, there is a question coming like, to what this Seville strategy is related. Seville strategy recently in news is related to what? It is related to management of biosphere reserves. Okay. Then they have another document called Statutory Framework of the World Network of Biospheres. Okay, these two documents are base for management of biosphere reserves across the world by UNESCO. So sites can be proposed by all member states and associate members. So proposal anyone can put it, okay, but UNESCO will approve. After designation, sites remain under the sovereign jurisdiction of the states. Just because UNESCO has recognized it does not mean it will, the country, source country, host country will lose the control. No, it is still the property of the country. States can also remove a biosphere reserve from network by notifying the MAB network secretariat. Okay, so if let's say now this cold desert biosphere was recognized, now India after a few years wants to delist it, de-recognize it, because to have that designation we need some minimum maintenance. We need to meet some minimum requirements. Like there is a limit on tourism, there is a limit on mining. If you are not okay with it, we can delist it. It is up to us. We are the sovereign power. Then this designation is for 10 years. Review happens every 10 years. UNESCO also can withdraw the designation if a reserve fail to meet the required standards. So if we are not following the required standards, UNESCO can also de-recognize it. Okay. So that's it about the World Network of Biospheres. Let's move to this particular cold desert biosphere reserve in Himachal Pradesh, which is in news, which is the recognized one. So it is the India's first high altitude cold desert biosphere reserve. It is the first high altitude cold desert biosphere reserve. So also notice one thing, it is cold desert, it is not a hot desert, it is a desert. Thar desert is also a desert, but Thar desert is a hot desert, this is a cold desert. Okay, it is one of the coldest and driest ecosystem in UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Then it is having this cold desert biosphere reserve is having some protected areas like Pin Valley National Park, Chandartal, Sarchu and Kebbar Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay, so see why they are giving like this. Biosphere reserve is a very large area. It can contain some national parks, biosphere reserves inside it. See this previous year question. So see this previous year question, how UPSC can ask questions on this. In 2019, UPSC has asked which of the following are in the Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve. So Biosphere Reserve is the largest one. It contains which of the following? Nayyar, Pappara, Shendurne Wildlife Sanctuaries and collected Mundanthrai Tiger Reserve, KMTR. Okay, so this option 1 is the answer. So they are asking the subcomponents of this Biosphere Reserve. Similarly, this PDF contains, that is why it contains, this Biosphere Reserve contains which national parks or wildlife sanctuaries? Pin Valley National Park, Pin Valley National Park, okay. Chandartal, it is a lake, it is a Ramsar site, Ramsar wetland, okay. If you know wetlands, there is something called Ramsar wetlands. Definitely we will discuss in the later pages. So just remember, Chandartal is a lake. So this lake and the surrounding region around it is also declared as a wildlife sanctuary. Then there is another wildlife sanctuary called Sarchu and Kebbar Wildlife Sanctuary. So where are all of these? All of these are in Himachal Pradesh, in the cold desert biosphere reserve. So what is the biome? What is the natural climate, larger climate system in this region? It is a cold desert. It is a cold desert with harsh climatic conditions, and these harsh climatic conditions attributed to two factors. One is location on the leeward side of the Himalayas. So one is the leeward side of the Himalayas. See here. So this is the Himalaya region, and this is all the Himalaya region. We are talking about this Himachal cold desert region. See here. This is the region we are talking about. So you see all the normal rainfall, whether it is from western disturbances or through monsoon, all the rainfall will be taken by this side of the Himalayas. It will rain this area only. Okay. These clouds or these clouds with the monsoon, these clouds with water cannot climb these mountains. Even if they climb, all the rain will happen this side or on the top of the mountain. On the other side is called leeward side or rain shadow zone. Here there will be no rain. Clouds will go there, but there will be no water inside it. So there will be no rain. So this region lying on other side of the Himalayas became a desert, cold desert. So this is one factor making it a rain shadow zone. Then there is high elevation. Naturally, when we go from upwards from the surface of the earth, the temperature will drop, okay, and there will be less moisture. So these two reasons made it a cold desert biome. In Himalayas, it stretches from Ladakh to north of the Kinnur, which means Kinnur is in Himachal. So this biome speaking, we are talking about this cold desert. Cold desert is not just in Himachal Pradesh, it is also in Ladakh, okay, and this Himachal Pradesh, Kinnaur, Spiti Valley and Kinnaur district in Himachal Pradesh in south. Okay, this biome extends to both Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh, but the biosphere reserve which is recognized is in exclusively Himachal Pradesh. Okay, the Ladakh part, as per this article, is not recognized. So what is the culture of this region? So this PDF is discussing all the aspects of the region in news. What is the culture? This region consists of distinct Buddhist culture. Okay, this Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh, this cold desert area, is having distinct Buddhist culture. They are having something called Gompas, which are Buddhist monasteries. I will show you the pictures. Chotens, which are stupas. Manivals, which are like platforms made of stone. So you can see here. So these are the Gompas. These are the Chotens, stupas. Okay, Gompas you can see Buddhist monasteries. Okay, then these are Manivals, platforms made of stones. And there is something called representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. UNESCO maintains it. We are talking about UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Same UNESCO also maintains something called representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. As I told in the previous class, heritage is of two types. One is natural heritage, another one is cultural heritage. When we talk of these biosphere reserves, national parks, etc., so this cold desert biosphere reserve is a natural heritage. Kanchenjunga is a natural heritage. In the same way, there can be cultural heritages like Taj Mahal, okay, yoga. So something we are proud of, something we have developed over the years, we have taken from future generations, and something we will give it to future generations. This is the heritage. So cultural heritage means something we have developed as a part of our culture, like yoga, Deepavali festival, okay, Kumbh Mela, okay, all of these are cultural heritages. And these cultural heritages are two types. Tangible, something which you can touch. Intangible, something you cannot touch. Like you can physically go to Taj Mahal, you can touch it. It is a tangible cultural heritage. Then take yoga. Can you touch yoga? Yoga is a process, you cannot touch it. It is intangible. So this UNESCO is maintaining list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity from various countries. So from India there are so many, okay, like Kumbh Mela, yoga, Deepavali festival, and this something called Buddhist chanting of Ladakh also in this list. Now this Buddhist chanting of Ladakh is a exclusive cultural feature of this region. So you can see here the chanting of this Buddhist is recognized as a cultural heritage by this UNESCO. That is what this news is telling about. Then fauna. What are the famous animals from this region? So as you can see, this is a desert and there will be no significant plant species, flora species in desert. So they have given only fauna. So what are the important fauna species from this region? Snow leopard. So this snow leopard is a specific cat species adapted to these high heights of Himalayas, cold Himalayas. Then we have Himalayan ibex. Okay, these are called ungulates. These sheep, goats, ibex, all of these are called ungulates. Okay, ungulates. Okay, so Himalayan ibex is a species. There is something called blue sheep. You will see in this region. There is Himalayan wolf. There is golden eagle. So this region is famous for these kind of species. So that concludes our first topic, World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Let's move on to the next topic, Wildlife Protection Act. So what is this Wildlife Protection Act? So let me tell you the background here first, then I will tell you the present news. So we have this something called Wildlife Protection Act. For every purpose, we make a law. We have a constitution. Constitution gives broad directions. Like we have this DPSPs and fundamental duties. So in DPSPs and fundamental duties, we have some articles telling us that protecting wildlife and environment is our fundamental duty. State should strive for protection of wildlife and animals and forests, etc. So from that duty, we derive a moral responsibility and Parliament passes some acts. So Parliament passes some acts like Wildlife Protection Act, Environment Protection Act. So Wildlife Protection Act to protect wildlife, Environment Protection Act is to protect the environment, etc. So these two acts especially, Wildlife Protection Act and Environment Protection Act, we discuss again and again. Our whole environment subject revolves around these two. So we have Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Under this Wildlife Protection Act, we try to give directions to protect various kinds of animals, tigers, elephants, cheetahs, okay, all animals in fact. Okay, so all animals, all wildlife in India, whether plants or animals, are protected under this. So this act has 4 schedules. Previously it used to have many schedules like 6 or 7, but in 2022 an amendment was made. These schedules, number of schedules were rationalized and it was aligned with the international conventions like CITES. So if you remember in previous class, we have seen some convention called CITES, which is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. So it deals with international trade. So many animals are traded which animal can be traded, which animal cannot. So you can catch a fish in Indian waters and you can sell it to US or something. It is okay. Some animals are allowed to be traded. Some animals are not allowed to be traded. You cannot catch a lion in India and can sell it to an American. You cannot do it. You can catch a fish, you can sell it. So this organization, it is an international agreement between governments. It deals with trade in various kinds of plants and animals across the world. So to align our Wildlife Protection Act with CITES and to rationalize the schedules, government has made an amendment in 2022. After this amendment, right now there are 4 schedules you can see. Schedule 1, which is dealing with the animals that need highest level of protection. So as I told in our previous class, lions are something which needs to be protected very carefully because already lions have depleted so much, tigers have depleted so much, cheetahs have gone extinct, completely extinct. All Britishers and the kings during that time have completely killed each and every last cheetah in India. So some animals need very high protection. Those animals which need high protection are placed in this Schedule 1. So anyone who is killing this Schedule 1 animals will receive very high penalty. Then we have Schedule 2. These animals receive some kind of lesser protection. You cannot kill this animal, but if you kill, the penalty is lesser. Okay. Then Schedule 3. This Schedule 3 is exclusively for plant species that need protection. Okay. Like day-to-day plants you see, they may not need protection. So those ornamental plants you see outside your houses, etc. It's okay. Government will not do anything if you pluck something from it or if you take the stem out of it, if you kill it. But there are some special plants which need protection. So government is protecting them. Okay. Then there is Schedule 4. This means we know there is something called CITES. So this whatever animal or plant is listed from India in these CITES, it is put in this Schedule 4. Okay. So Schedule 4 is for exclusively which are recognized by the world. Okay. Like in previous one, we have biosphere reserves. Some of them are recognized by UNESCO. Here we have all kind of animals and plants in Schedule 1 to 3, but only some of them are recognized by international convention CITES. We are placing them exclusively in Schedule 4. So this is the structure of Wildlife Protection Act, whose aim is protection of wild animals, birds, plants and matters connected with a view to ensuring the ecological and environmental security of the country. Okay, so this is the broad one. Again, this Wildlife Protection Act also establishes some body because we need different kind of care. We need a special national board for wildlife, for all kind of wildlife, plants and animals throughout the country. It is the biggest, largest, topmost board. So it is headed by Prime Minister. Okay, who chairs the National Board for Wildlife? The Prime Minister. So similar way we have National Board for Wildlife across the country. Every state has something called State Boards for Wildlife. Then we have, and State Boards of Wildlife are headed by Chief Minister. Okay, like Prime Minister at the center, Chief Minister at the state. Then we have Central Zoo Authority. Okay, Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. Then we have something called National Tiger Conservation Authority, NTCA, for conservation of tigers. So we have created various kinds of bodies through this act for various purposes. Okay. Now I will come to the news. I am just explaining the act. This background is needed so that you understand this act better. So let me tell you one thing. So there is something called vermin. There is a concept called vermin. What is vermin? Vermin means any animal which is threatening the human agriculture or human activities, but they are large in number. Like lions and tigers come and attack humans rarely. Okay, naturally they do not do it. But there are some animals like wild pigs. Okay, like wild pig. And that this blue sheep, I have told you, there are so many in number. Blue sheep and barrel are too many in number. So this blue sheep, these kind of animals which are too many in number, and they intentionally come to our agricultural fields, etc., to eat it. They come to our agriculture and plantations so that they can eat, they can feed, and it is harmful to our agriculture, etc., our plantations, etc. So some of the animals which are naturally harming our interest and are too many in number, there is no natural threat to these species because of humans. These kind of animals can be declared as something called vermin. When you declare something as vermin, it means it is something irritating to you and it is okay to kill it. Okay, killing this animal is called culling. It is called culling. Okay, when you kill an animal because it is harming your interest, it is called culling. It is like euthanasia for humans. Intentionally you are killing it so that your interests are not harmed. Okay, it is called culling. So this Previously, before this 2022 amendment, there is a separate schedule for vermins. But now this was removed. Now the power to declare something as vermin is given to central government. Only central government. Central government of India has the power to declare any animal. Like take Kerala right now. Kerala, we have an issue called these wild boars. Wild boars are troubling many farmers in Kerala. Okay, so when these wild boars are troubling, but farmers cannot kill it because it is listed in some schedule 2 or schedule 1, and if they kill it, they will receive penalty or even maybe jail. But these wild boars, without farmers doing anything, they are coming into the fields and they are eating the crops and plantations. So farmers are in a dilemma here. They cannot do anything. They are helpless. What government can do? Government can declare vermin, wild boar as a vermin. When something is declared as vermin, it is okay to kill it to protect your interest. But after this 2022 amendment, only central government has the power to declare something as a vermin. And government also tells for this period, government can say like this, for the next 6 months, wild boars in Kerala, they can specify the reason and time. For the next 6 months, wild boars in Kerala are recognized as vermin for the next 6 months. Okay, they can say like this, and this power is exclusively with the central government. Then there is another concept. So we have something called 7th schedule. So under 7th schedule of the constitution, we have list. Okay, there is something called union list. There is something called state list. Then there is something called concurrent list. So if you place something in union list, only central government has the power. If there is something inside the state list, only state government has the power. But if something is there in concurrent list, both central government and state government can make laws it. Okay, it is concurrent power. Both having the power. But both, if there is no central government law, state government can make a law in that particular state. That law is invalidity. Okay, it is prevailing. But if central government makes law, central government law overcomes. Okay, overrides the state law, supersedes the state law. If both make the law together, now we have something called Wildlife Protection Act made by Parliament of India, which means central government has made the Act Wildlife Protection of India, and wildlife is in concurrent list. Okay. Forest and protection of wildlife comes under the concurrent list. If you see in the 7th schedule, I think number is 17A and B. So because wildlife protection is concurrent and central government has made a law, if any state government is making a law, it specially needs the permission of the president. Otherwise, only central government law will prevail. If state government wants to make something, but there is already central government law on it, state government has to take special permission from the president of India to make that particular law prevailing in that particular state. Okay, to override central law in that region, state government needs assent of the president. So this is the present political structure. Now let us come to the news. Now Kerala has some problems with some animals. And who has the power? Only central government has the power. And Kerala wants some animals to be declared as vermins, and central government is not recognizing it. Okay, maybe political or any reason, it is not our concern. Central government is not recognizing it. So what Kerala government did? It has amended this Wildlife Protection Act using the power from the concurrent list. Now it needs president assent. So this news is from September 2025. But right now on 3rd February 2026, still this Kerala Government Amendment Act did not receive approval from the President of India. As of now, it did not receive. Okay. So Kerala has become the first state to introduce amendments to the Wildlife Protection Act aimed at easing the procedures for killing wild animals that pose threat to humans. So they want to kill some animals to protect human interest, to prevent threats to humans. They want to declare some animals as vermins, but they are not having the power because there is already central government law on it. So they have made the act and they have sent it for president assent, which is still pending. Then coming back to Wildlife Protection Act, so it prohibits hunting of any wild animal specified in schedules 1 to 3 and 4 except as per sections 11 and 12. What is section 11 and 12? This is, I'm talking about hunting, not culling, okay, not declaring as vermin. This is hunting. Anyone can hunt, okay. So only chief wildlife warden can permit hunting. There may be some situations when hunting is required, like for research purpose, for education purpose, for preparing some essential medicine, okay, for strategic reasons, okay. So for various reasons to prevent threat, okay, like let's say a tiger has come into the human habitations and it is killing people. Now you have to hunt it down, okay. In various situations, chief wildlife warden can permit. Then provides for declaration of areas. This Wildlife Protection Act also facilitates declaration of special protected areas for wildlife, for plant or animals. They can declare something called national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, conservation reserves, community reserves, for the protection of wildlife and habitat. See, normally this is the situation. Like, as per size I am speaking, biosphere reserves are the largest one. Then comes the national parks. Then comes the, usually, this may not be strictly true, it's not that all national parks are larger than all wildlife sanctuaries. Generally speaking, the extent of protection the extent of size is usually this. Okay, then there are community reserves, which means a community is managing some specific area, protecting some plant or some animal. Okay, community reserves and conservation reserves. Okay, some local government can take care of it. So this is the usual size when it comes to size of protected areas. Okay, national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. So this biosphere reserve is different. It is not under Wildlife Protection Act. There is no single act for biosphere reserves declaration. Government comes with declaration based on the need. But the declaration of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, community conservation reserves comes under Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, so state government can make a proposal, or even central government also can recognize this national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and community conservation reserves under this Wildlife Protection Act. Prior permission for translocation is required from central government for Schedule 1 animals and from state governments for any other wild animal. So you need to shift some animal. Let's say right now there are lions only in Gujarat. From many years government is thinking, why not shift some lions to Madhya Pradesh, so that if something happens in Gujarat, we don't lose all the lions at once. This is still proposal. To make a shift like that, if Madhya Pradesh government wants some lions, it has to take prior permission from the central government, because lion is in Schedule 1. If it is any other wild animal, not in Schedule 1, you can take the permission of the state government. Okay. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change retains right to revoke the permit if there are safety issues or mishaps. So any permits given for anything, hunting, okay, translocation or culling, etc. So they can revoke the permit if there are any safety issues or mishaps. Okay, if they are not handled properly. So this is the next article on Wildlife Protection Act. We have seen it completely. Moving on to next one, which is talking about access and benefit sharing regulations of biological diversity. Okay, there is something called biological diversity access and benefit sharing regulations 2025. So let us talk about it. So let me explain the background. I still don't understand why Vision gives in this way. Let me tell you in the logical order. So on earth, we are doing so many activities, as I am telling you about. Literally I am telling you the whole environment subject again in 2 minutes for you. So the whole environment subjects comes from this. Humans are doing various kinds of activities which are threatening the planet Earth in multiple ways. Before humans started industrial revolution, like 15th, 16th century, more or less nature is in balance. But after industrial revolution, we started building many factories. We started laying so much of infrastructure, road, railway lines, airports, etc. We started polluting seas, lakes, rivers, etc. Okay, then we started agriculture intensely. We are cutting all the forest and doing agriculture and building houses. So there are many activities we are resorting to. Mining. Okay, so all the human activities threatening the environment in multiple ways. Like there is climate change happening, global warming happening. The natural temperature of Earth is rising, which is we are calling global warming. So this is changing the climate of the Earth, like all the glaciers are melting. Then comes loss of biodiversity. I told you biodiversity we are losing so much. Then there is another thing called desertification. Like all the natural grasslands are converting into deserts. So imagine Sahara desert is expanding southwards into the normal Africa, grassland Africa. So this is called desertification. So many such incidents are happening across the world. So when we realized that we are threatening planet in various ways, from 1970s, we started to think of sustainable development, how we can develop without threatening the planet Earth or the biodiversity on it. So we have conducted various summits, but the biggest of all is the 1992 Rio Earth Summit. So United Nations in 1992 has conducted something called United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED. It is also called Rio Summit. It is also called Earth Summit. It is a very famous one. So in 1992, because threats are multiple kinds, we have developed various conventions to deal with different kinds of threat. One, we have developed something called Convention on Biological Diversity. So to protect biodiversity, biological diversity, we have developed this Convention on Biodiversity. To protect Earth from climate change, we have formed something called, all of these are outcomes of this Rio Earth Summit. There all the countries sit together and they have discussed and they come up with the future plan. Okay, they have developed something called UNFCC, United Nations Framework for Convention Change. Okay, this is called CBD or UNCBD, whatever you call it. Okay, this is called UNFCC. Okay, 3 C's, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Then there is UNCCD, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. So all of these are outcomes of the Rio Summit. Now we are taking different steps to deal with the different negative outcomes of the human development. Now we are focusing on this particular biological diversity. Because this topic is biodiversity, we are frequently referring to Convention on Biological Diversity. When we move on to our next topic, which is pollution and climate change, there this UNFCC becomes very important. UNFCC and UNCCD. Okay, and whenever these conventions means it is a separate agreement. It is a separate agreement. It is a separate agreement. Every agreement has a different objectives, and everyone has a different members. For someone, loss of biological diversity may be a bigger threat. It may not be a bigger concern. Climate change may not be a bigger concern for them. Okay, so based on the need of the country, every country joins different conventions. You can join this, you can join this, you can join this. Okay, so every convention has some members, and those members are parties sit together every 1 year or 2 years, 4 years. They will sit together and organize a meeting. Okay, which is called, they will organize a conference, which is called Conference of Parties, COP. Okay, so this Conference of Parties will have numbers: COP1, COP2, COP3, COP4. First meeting is COP1, second meeting is COP2. So every meeting occurs at a different city across the world. So UNCBD has some conferences, meetings happen till now, like COP1, COP2, COP3, COP16, COP17. Then UNFCC has COPs, Conference of Parties, literally meeting of the parties, members. UNFCC COP1, UNFCC COP2. So each convention has different COPs. Please don't get confused. Okay. Now we are talking about Convention on Biological Diversity or UNCBD. Now the headquarters is in Montreal, Canada. Okay. Now this agreement formed a body called Convention on Biological Diversity, which is sitting in Montreal in Canada. It is an intergovernmental treaty. It is a treaty between governments. Adopted at the UNCED Rio Earth Summit in 1992. India is a member. It has 196 members. Every party member is required to have a national biodiversity strategy and action plan. So when you sign this agreement, you are supposed to do something inside your country. Now India has signed it. Now India has to take some strategy and action for protecting biodiversity. So India has made an act called Biological Diversity Act. So 3 main goals of this CBD, Convention of Biological Diversity, is: one is conservation of biodiversity. We are losing it, so we need to protect it, which is conservation. Then there is another objective: sustainable use of biological resources. What is biological resources? Plants, animals, all of these are biological resources. Okay, take some mineral you are mining from the earth. It is a natural resource, but it is not biological resource. Take fishes, which you are fishing from the ocean. It is something biological. It is a biological resource. Fishes can be called biological resource. If you are cutting a tree, it is a biological resource. So when you use this biological resource, you need to use it sustainably. Imagine a lake. If you are pulling all the fishes inside of the lake, you should not do it too intense, such a way that all the fishes in the lake you are catching on a single day, there is no single fish to reproduce further. It is not sustainable. But if, let's say if there are 10 fish, if you keep fishing like 4 or 5 fish every day, so the remaining fish, they can reproduce. The lake is continuously having fishes for you, for your consumption. So this is sustainable way. Okay, every month or I'm saying. So there is a sustainable way of using biological resources. There is an unsustainable way of using biological resources. So this convention advocates for sustainable use of biological resources. Then there is fair and equitable benefit sharing. Who gets the benefit out of this? Okay, fair and benefit sharing is this topic, which is access and benefit sharing. Let me tell here. Let's say, see, in India, if you see, Indians believe in this turmeric. We believe that turmeric, okay, or neem, these kind of plants or herbs have special properties. They are antibiotic. Okay, many people use turmeric because they believe it has antibiotic properties. We take neem because we believe it has some special healthy properties. We are doing this since so many years. So our forefathers knew it. They may not be scientists. They may not know the exact composition, but they know it has some special properties. Same, and this is called traditional knowledge. And this traditional knowledge usually very high in the tribes who are living in the forest. So these tribes who are living in the forest, they have so much of traditional knowledge. They are very well aware of all the herbs and plants around them, and the benefits and the nature of each and every herb and plant around their habitations. And they are having that generational knowledge from hundreds of years. Imagine a company, foreign company coming to India. They are going to some tribal area in Odisha, and they are seeing, they are using some special tribe is using this neem to make some medicine. Let's say, for example, I'm saying, I'm not exactly sure. Let's say neem has some properties which protect some from some virus fever. And these tribals already know it, but this foreign company, they have came here and noticed that, and they are taking some neem plants to their country, and using their labs, they are extracting this neem juice, and they are making some tablets or vaccines or medicines from it, and they are selling it in the market at very high rate, and they are making profits from it because it is having genuine properties and people are using. Not only they stop here, they may make patent. What is a patent? Patent means exclusive right. No one can make a medicine out of this neem plant except this foreign company. This is called patent right. So what they have done, they have simply done something called, they have simply stolen. It is called biopiracy. Normal piracy for biological resources is piracy, biopiracy. Okay. We are already having the knowledge. They are not the one who has discovered this knowledge first, but they have stolen this knowledge and they have presented it like their own knowledge, because patent goes to the person who has originally discovered or invented something. So this happened across the world with many indigenous people, many indigenous tribes, many developing countries. Rich companies from developed countries started coming to many areas in developing countries. They have stolen the traditional knowledge, they have gone there and they have made the products and they have made the patents for it. So this is unfair. This is unfair benefit sharing, because these tribal people who are having knowledge for thousands of years, they are not getting any benefit out of it. These people, without doing any work, they are gaining crores out of it. So this is called unfair access and unfair distribution of benefits. So every country, every developing country and every local communities who has the traditional knowledge, they should have some control over access. Who can access, who can touch our plants, wildlife, our traditional knowledge, etc. And who can benefit out of it. Like in this example, they can say, okay company, you can take our neem plants, you can use our knowledge, but out of every 100 rupees profit you are making, you also give some 10 rupees, 20 rupees for our own development. The rest 90 rupees is your profit. So this is at least some kind of fair distribution, because they are getting something out of it. Everyone is getting something out of it. Okay, or we can say 10 rupees to these native people, 10 rupees to Indian government, because it is Indian property ultimately, and 80 rupees to this foreign company. So these are called fair distribution of benefits. So this is there is the concept of fair access and fair distribution of benefits. So you can see here now, this Convention on Biological Diversity also has fair and equitable benefit sharing as also one of its main goal. It has 3 goals: biodiversity conservation, sustainable use of biological resources, fair and equitable benefit sharing. Okay. Now we are talking about this news is particularly about access and benefit sharing. So what is this access and benefit sharing? It is about how these genetic resources are accessed and how benefits from their use are fairly shared between users and providers. It is covered under CBD, of course. Bonn guidelines. Bonn guidelines means when they have convened in the city of Bonn in Germany, they have come up with some guidelines. Okay, voluntary guidelines. They are voluntary to assist governments and stakeholders in developing national administrative and policy measures for this access and benefit sharing. They have literally told how developing countries can effectively manage this access and benefit sharing issues. Okay, so they have outlined key steps like prior informed consent. What is prior informed consent? That means if you are taking something out of India, foreign company coming here, they are taking some knowledge, some property outside of India, some biological resource. They have to take prior informed consent from the proper authority of India or local community. Then there is mutual agree terms. That means the future of that product, at what rate they are selling, how much profit they are going to keep, how much they are going to give to the local community or Indian government. Okay, for how long, whether it is for 5 years, 10 years, all of these are based on mutual agree terms. Okay, mutual agree terms. Then there is Nagoya Protocol. So protocol means supplementary agreement. Convention is the original agreement. When you need some modifications or when you need some additional instructions, additional insertions, you can make a protocol supporting the original convention. So we have made something called protocol convention when they have assembled in the city of Nagoya in Japan. Okay, so they have made some legally binding supplementary agreements to this convention on biodiversity, again on fair and equitable distribution of sharing of benefits. Okay, arising utilization of genetic resources. So we have these genes. So every biological resource, whether plant or animal, everything has something called genes. So when you use this knowledge of genes, you should distribute whatever you are getting out of it in a fair way. Then there is multilateral mechanism of DSA means digital sequence. Okay, DSA means digital sequence information. I will tell you, I will explain this. Okay, like digital sequence information means our DNA. Every animal, every living being has something called DNA or RNA. Okay, even bacteria, virus are this. Take coronavirus. During COVID pandemic, there is something called coronavirus, and coronavirus has something called RNA. We have DNA, it has RNA. So this is called genetic information. This genetic information has a sequence. Like this human DNA has sequence A, G, C, D. There is some sequence. Okay, sequence of proteins. This sequence becomes very important because this sequence tells you the differences between various subspecies inside the species, like difference among humans and difference between one species and another species. This sequence becomes very important. Let's say there is a bacteria which is having a like superior property, like we have this BT cotton. What is BT cotton? We have taken a bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis. So this has some unique properties to kill some insects which are harmful to the cotton. So which we have taken this gene from this BT bacteria and we have inserted into the cotton. Now any these worms or other things, insects which are eating cotton, they will die on their own. No need to throw pesticides, etc. So we have taken the gene of this and put into the cotton. Okay, this is called genetic engineering. So this is how, for this we need to know the sequence information of this Bacillus thuringiensis, BT bacteria. This is called DNA sequence. Now when you convert into digital form, it is called digital sequence information, because traditionally this information is in analog form, not in digital, not in computers. So whatever we have made in this CBD, it is dealing with only non-digital forms, physical forms, analog forms. So because this convention made before the development of digital technology, now what simply companies are doing, companies are converting sequence information they have gathered from these developing countries and tribes. They are converting into digital format. Now they are not paying any benefits to the developing countries and they are saying no, it is in digital form. Digital form is not covered under CBD. So for this purpose, they have developed a new mechanisms for digital sequence information also. Now this digital form also included under this CBD at a recent COP16 in 2024. COP16 is conducted, I think, in Cali in Colombia. So at that meeting, now they have recognized this is something still outside of purview of CBD. So now they have also included it. So this is the background. Now with this background, come to the present news. So we have National Biodiversity Authority. So as I told you, to comply with the UN CBD, we have implemented something called Biological Diversity Act. Under this Biological Diversity Act, we have formed something called National Biodiversity Authority. So this National Biodiversity Authority has issued new Biological Diversity Access and Benefit Sharing Regulations 2025. So they have come up with, simply put, new kind of access and benefit sharing regulations. So it regulates, what is the aim of these regulations? It regulates how benefits from use of biological resources and associated knowledge are fairly shared, notified by National Biodiversity Authority, and it is replacing previous 2014 guidelines, okay, in accordance with the Biodiversity Act 2002. What are the key highlights? Now in 2024, in the CBD, this digital sequence information was included. At a global level, it is included. Now we have to make the same modification at our national level. So that is what we have done now. So inclusion of digital sequence information or associated knowledge as a mode of benefit sharing for access biological resources. Okay. So digital sequence information is a policy term for digital representation of genetic resources, including genomic data like DNA, RNA and protein sequences. Prior intimation to NBA for approval needed. Of course, prior intimation is a mandatory condition, okay, under the CBD. So prior information or prior approval from National Biodiversity Authority is a mandatory requirement, okay, to access biological resources. And it is not applicable to access to cultivated medicinal plants. So see here, from here to here it is too factual, okay, too factual. That means these are just rules. These can be modified at any time. These are not important for the exam. Like they are saying the amount of benefit sharing, how much you are going to give depends on the how much turnover you are making, okay. So various type of situation, how much you are going to pay. If a foreign company comes to India and they are making a deal with Indian government or the local communities for some biological resources, so what is the mechanism of the benefit sharing? Whether you have to give 0.6 or you don't have to give anything, you can cultivate for free, depends on your own turnover, okay. For high value biological resources, we are putting some high amount, okay, for when it is used for commercial use. Let's say a foreign government came, like some South American country, South Africa country, Namibia, Botswana, they said, sir, we need your biological resources, but not for commercial purpose. We need for benefit our common population. We are also poor country. So for that, a different amount is applicable. Let's say 5%. But when it is for a commercial purpose, a foreign company, MNC has came, for them it is 20%. So it is just talking about the specific revenue share. Okay, this section is not important. You just can pause the video and give it a glance. Then there is benefits of new research transfer. So if you are using it for non-IPR use, that means you are not making a patent out of it. IPR is intellectual property right. That means you are making a patent. Whatever information, traditional knowledge you have taken from us, you are making a patent out of it, then the agreement will be different. Okay, then you have to give 1% of annual sales revenue to us. But if you are not making a patent out of it, then as mutually agreed, we will deal with whatever is in the agreement, that will follow. Okay, so this is the basically news. This news, for every news I'm saying, that particular news is less relevant, but the issue behind this is very important. It is okay to not understand this news, but you should understand what is access and benefit sharing, what is this UNCBD, and what is the context, why they have issued the rules, etc. Okay. So large framework, okay, overall framework of India on access and benefit sharing they are talking about. So what does India have to ensure fair access and fair distribution? We have Biological Diversity Act 2002, okay, which is enacted to comply with CBD, UNCBD. It covers all biological resources within India, broader than the scope of Nagoya Protocol limited to genetic resources. Okay, so our own biological diversity is broader than the Nagoya Protocol, which they have made for genetic resources. Then we are implementing this biological diversity using three-tier system. One is at national level, we have National Biodiversity Authority. At state level, we have state biodiversity boards. At a district level, we have biodiversity management committees. So from district to national level, we are managing biodiversity at every level. Important access benefit sharing related case study. So one example they have given, there is something called Kani tribe in Kerala. And they have developed something called Jevani drug. They have something called Arogya Pacha plant. Arogya Pacha plant, they know that this plant is having multiple benefits. They know that this plant is having multiple benefits. So some company came and they have made some Jevani drug with the knowledge of this tribe from this Arogya Pacha plant. So now there is a reasonable fair benefit sharing in this region between the company and this Kani tribe. So this is a good example of how there can be a fair access and fair distribution of biological resources. Moving on to the next article, okay, CSS Integrated Development of Wildlife Habitat Scheme. So CSS means Central Sponsored Scheme here. Okay, so broadly speaking, we have like, so I will show you the PYQ. First, understand this. So schemes introduced by the central government, will be usually two types. One is central sector scheme or central sponsored scheme. So what is central sector scheme? Central sector means it is exclusively under the central sector. Like if something is mentioned in union list, I just told you about, it is complete responsibility of the central government. So it is central sector. All the funding, 100% funding to implement this scheme comes from the central government. But if something is mentioned in concurrent list or state list, central government can give only partial amount. It does not have to give full amount as per the constitution. So it will give like 60%, so that remaining 40% state governments have to provide. It can give like 90%, then remaining 10% state governments have to arrange. So this is called central sponsored. It will only sponsor some amount. It will not reimburse fully. So this is the concept of central sponsored and central sector schemes. Okay. So just before starting this topic, let me tell you about this PYQ. How questions on animals can come in this previous year. Questions on animals can come in the prelims exam. So see this question about Indian squirrels. So they are asking about the nature of Indian squirrels. They build nests by making burrows in the ground. They are asking about the behavior of these animals. They store their food materials in the nuts and seeds in the ground. They are omnivorous. Okay, so they build nests by making burrows in the ground. This is wrong. They build a nest. Indian squirrels build nests in the trees. Okay, and these two, I think they are right. Okay, you please check. So questions can come like this. Then see, they are giving 3 animals. They are asking about which of the animals are generally nocturnal. That means they are active at the night. When an animal is active at the day, like humans are diurnal. They wake up at the morning time and they sleep at the night. We are diurnal. Okay, we are diurnal. When something sleeps in the morning time and wakes up at the night, it is called nocturnal. So they have given a list and they are asking which are nocturnal. I think this question is very debatable. There is a debate around sambar deer. Okay, but lion-tailed macaque is a diurnal and Malabar civet is a nocturnal one. So you need to know the behavior of the animals. At least those animals which are in the news. That is the takeaway here. Now we are going to talk about some animals from here. So this is how you have to focus on the behavior, on the basic things about the animals in the news. And that is how this PDF is also designed. So first to know about this something called Integrated Development of Wildlife Habitat Scheme. So there is a Integrated Development of Wildlife Habitat Scheme, which is a central sponsored scheme, and it is implemented by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Of course, our whole environment subject deals with this ministry. It is this ministry responsibility. And what is the purpose of this scheme? Conducting wildlife protection and conservation activities. So we have implemented a scheme for protection of wildlife. Under this, they will provide financial assistance. Central government will provide financial assistance to states and UTs for protecting protected areas, wildlife in the protected areas. What are protected areas? National parks, wildlife sanctuaries, conservation reserves, community reserves. These are called protected areas. Okay, like of all the area, we have demarcated some area. There is, let's say, a district is 100 square meter area. In the district, we have clearly circle some area, let's say some 10 square meters. Now I can call it national park, or now I can call it wildlife sanctuary. This is called protected area. Okay, that 10 square meters in that larger 100 square meters is protected. Rules will be different in that particular 10 square meters and the remaining 90 square meters. And also not just within the protected areas, outside of protected areas also there may be some animals. So funding will be given for them also. There will be special funding for recovery programs for critically endangered species like lions. There is something called Great Indian Bustard. There is a bird species in Gujarat and Rajasthan. It is called Great Indian Bustard. You can Google it. Great Indian Bustard. So many animals, many vultures in India are critically vulnerable, okay, critically endangered. So for these animals, especially we are conducting some recovery programs. There is a gangetic dolphin in Ganga River. It is very unique to India. It is very important for that particular river. So, but it is going extinct. For those kind of species, we can implement something called special recovery program, okay, species protection program. So far under this special recovery programs, 22 species have been identified like snow leopard, Asiatic lion, Great Indian Bustard, gangetic river dolphin, etc. Okay. Now what is the news? What is the news? Gharial and sloth bear were recommended for inclusion under species recovery program of this Integrated Development of Wildlife Habitat Scheme. So Gharial and sloth bear were recommended. Now we have to see whether ministry accepts it or not. Okay, government accepts it or not. Key components: development of wildlife habitat. Key components of the scheme, Integrated Wildlife Habitat Scheme. What are the key components? It has 3 components. One is development of wildlife habitats. So special living places for wildlife. Habitat means a living space for wildlife will be developed across India. Then there is something called Project Tiger to increase the number of the tigers. Then there is Project Elephant to increase the number of elephants and to facilitate elephant movements peacefully. So these are 2 projects. Now they have 2 are merged recently, 1-2 years back. Project Tiger and Project Elephant was merged. Now it is a single project called Project Tiger and Project Elephant. So this is the news. Now let us see about these two animals which are mentioned in the news. Gharial, which is a crocodile species, and sloth bear, which is a bear species. So before coming to particular this sloth bear, Gharial was not mentioned here. So let me give you a background, how to learn about the animals. When any animal comes in the news, I am suggesting you to know in the larger sense. Like now you have heard about something called Gharial. Just give 2 minutes about all the crocodile species in India. Okay, don't waste too much time. I'm not suggesting you to waste too much time. Don't become an environmentalist. You have to read so many subjects. But give it 2 minutes to see what are all the similar species. So in India, if you see, there are 3 types of crocodiles. There are many types of crocodile species across the world. But in India, there are 3. One is called Gharials. Then there is another thing called Magar crocodile. Now the present news about is this Gharials. Okay. Then there is saltwater crocodile. So there are 3 types of crocodile species. So Gharials, they live in fresh river water. Okay, these are famous for living in river waters, and they are critically endangered. Their IUCN status is critically endangered. You can see here. They are being very threatened. The number of the Gharials are becoming very lesser. Now we are trying to renovate them, conserve them. Okay. Then there is Magar crocodile. It can live in more number of areas than Gharial. Gharial can only live in freshwater rivers, but it can live in various areas like freshwater rivers, lakes, marshes, estuaries. That means estuary means the area of mixing of river with the sea. So Magar crocodile is vulnerable. Because vulnerable, it is not as dangerous, critically endangered. Why? Because it is living in larger areas. The numbers are good. Now see the saltwater crocodile. So it is completely coastal species. It lives in the coastal sea water, coastal brackish water. Brackish means sea water. So coastal area means India has so much of coastal area. We have more than 11,000 square meters of coastal area. And the number of saltwater crocodiles are very high. And you can see here, it is the Earth's largest living reptile. Saltwater. It is very large. Okay, very large. 2 to 3 times of human size crocodiles. In reality, if you see it will be very scary because the number is high and it is living in very large area. IUCN status is comparatively least concern. Okay, we are not worried about the extinction of saltwater crocodile in India much. Okay, so you can see the real images here. Okay, so here is the saltwater crocodile, here is the Magar crocodile, okay, or marsh crocodile, here is the Gharial. Okay. Now let us come to, now the issue is sloth bear. So sloth means, see, you must have heard about this animal called sloths. They are very slow, they are very lazy. Okay, so a bear which is like sloth is the sloth bear. So in India you will see 4 bear species in total. So one is sloth bear whose IUCN status is vulnerable. Okay, then see, don't by heart IUCN status. Just listen to whatever I am saying. If you remember in the exam, it is okay. Pretty sure there cannot be more than 1 question about IUCN status. Even if 1 question is asked, it is miracle. Just because it is in news, we are discussing it. Otherwise, don't try to by heart them. Try to remember logically, like how I told you this saltwater crocodile. It is easy to remember because habitat is larger, numbers are higher. So you cannot call it critically endangered. But on the other hand, Gharials are living in very lesser area, like in central area. Except in central India, you will not find Gharial anywhere in India. So the area is lesser, numbers are lesser. So naturally it is critically endangered. Magar is between these two, so it is vulnerable. Same goes for these bears. Okay, so Himalayan brown bear, in the name you can see it is restricted to Himalayan region, so it is endangered. The area is lesser, it is not throughout India. Okay, and see, it is some bears hibernate. Hibernate means during some winter season they cannot find food. In winter they cannot go out and they cannot find food easily. So what they do, they will reduce their metabolic activity. They will just sleep in a cave for months and months till winter is over. This is called hibernation. You must have seen in the movies. Okay, so some bears hibernate, some don't. Like this sloth bear do not hibernate, but this Himalayan brown bear will hibernate. And again in India you will also see Asiatic black bear. This is the common bear you will see across India. Okay, then sorry, I think this is the common bear you will see across India, sloth bear. Then Asiatic black bear whose IUCN status is vulnerable. Okay, and you can see the protection status here, sites and okay, Wildlife Protection Act, etc. Please pause and watch. Okay, because we are going outside of the PT365. I am not spending much time here. Then we have sun bear. Okay, sun bear Again, Asiatic black bear will hibernate, sun deer will not hibernate. It is IUCN status is vulnerable. Okay, you can find it in the northeast India. See here, habitat is also given for every animal. So these are the 4 species you will see in India. So among all these 4 species, now we are talking about particularly sloth bear, which is in the Wildlife Protection Act Schedule 1, which is in the CITES Appendix 1 and having IUCN status as vulnerable. Okay, now this is recommended for inclusion under Species Special Protection Program. So you can read the properties here. It is factual. It is having long claws and unusual teeth like this sloth animal. Okay, it is specializing in eating termites and ants. Does not hibernate. It does not hibernate. Sloth bear does not hibernate. It is solitary. It is not a group animal. It is solitary. It is nocturnal, but it is very agile. More or less, all bears can run faster than humans. Okay, agile. Many people think they can escape from bear, but they cannot. Okay, they are agile and known as one of the most aggressive animals in Indian subcontinent. Habitat: forests and grasslands native to India, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. So it resides in forests and grasslands. Threats: habitat loss and degradation, human-animal conflict, global population fewer than 20,000. So numbers are falling. So that is why it is recommended right now. Conservation efforts. In 2025, we have started something called Project Sloth Bear. There is a Doroji Sloth Bear Sanctuary in Karnataka. So first dedicated sloth bear sanctuary in Asia. Okay, so it can be seen in Karnataka also. So in many areas across India, you can see this sloth bear. This sanctuary in Karnataka is the first dedicated sloth bear sanctuary in Asia. Okay, so moving on to the next news, which is Project Cheetah. So India, Botswana, there is a country in Africa called Botswana. So these 2 countries have made an agreement to formally translocate 8 cheetahs to India. So as I told you, see the background. See all of these animals, lions, tigers, snow leopard, cheetahs, all of these are called big cats. Okay, not ordinary. These cat species which we see in daily life, they are small cats. These species, jaguar, lion, tiger, snow leopard, all of these are called big cats. So India has some big cats, and among all these big cats, cheetah was gone extinct. Britishers and the kings, Indian kings at that time, they have done so much of hunting of cheetahs to such an extent that every last cheetah in India has been killed. There are no more cheetahs. So in 1952, cheetahs have gone extinct in India. Okay, cheetah is the world's fastest mammal, and it has gone extinct in India in 1952. And see, there can be questions on the behavior of the animals. See this previous year question. So the question is, lions do not have a particular breeding season. So in previous class we have seen this is true. Unlike most other big cats, cheetahs do not roar. Yes. See this question came from a particular background because cheetahs in India gone extinct in 1952, and nature is in balance. See, there is a first producer, like it may be a plant, it may be a tiny cyanobacteria on oceans. Okay, there is a primary producer which produces food from sunlight and CO2. From sunlight and CO2, it produces some food. Now it stores the food inside it. Now there will be primary consumer. This is called food chain. It is true for land or aquatic ecosystem anywhere. So this primary consumer, let's say deer or even human, we eat fruits. We eat these plants. So take the example of a deer. Now this primary consumer or some rat or something, some anything which eats the small fruits. Now these primary consumers will be eaten by secondary consumers. Okay. Then these secondary consumers will, like secondary consumer, you can take it as a snake. A snake can eat a rat. Okay. Or if you see insects, small insects, if you take insects as the primary consumers, rat eats insects, rat is the secondary. Then there can be a tertiary consumer or even quaternary also. It depends on the cycle. Okay. It depends on the chain. So snake you can take as tertiary. Snake eats rats, rats eat insects, insects eat plants. Or you can take deer, deer eats the trees, deer is the primary. Now there is another wolf, let's say wolf eats the deer, then lion eats the wolf. So this is how food chains operate in the real world. Whole earth is in balance. Let's say we killed all the lions or all the cheetahs. What will happen? Then the number of deers will be too much. Or take primary. The number of deers will be too much. The grass will the grass cannot grow. Normally the grass grows at a certain level. Because the deer numbers are limited, grass has the opportunity to continuously grow. Deer sees this part today, so tomorrow deer comes for this part. Meanwhile, this area of the grass will grow. If there are too many deers, they will eat whole grass. Now there cannot be a opportunity for grass to grow. So the deer population needs to be kept in control. For deers to be kept in control, we need lions or cheetahs in that region. So lions or cheetahs. Many people think that nothing will happen if lions disappear or cheetahs disappear. No. Nature is in balance, we should not disturb it. But we have disturbed it in the case of cheetahs. Because cheetahs have gone extinct. Where cheetahs used to reside, this central India, etc. The natural ecosystem in this region is degrading. Okay, it is not in a good condition because the natural balance has been disturbed. So government of India thought, let us bring some cheetahs at least from outside to this region and reintroduce it so that this grassland ecosystem in the central India can be again rejuvenated. It can be improved again. And there are also other advantages if you bring cheetahs, like you can organize tourism, okay, wildlife safari. You must have seen this safari on jeeps, etc. So now it can be used for multiple purposes and grasslands also will be in a good natural state. For this reason, not just now, for many years now we are bringing cheetahs from many other countries. So cheetahs are two types, just like lions, Asiatic and African lions. Cheetahs also two types basically, Asiatic cheetah and African cheetah. So you can see the difference here. So Asiatic cheetah has in our Wildlife Protection Act Schedule 1 and it is in CITES Appendix 1. It is critically endangered because in India all are killed. Only very few exist in Iran. Okay, only very few exist in the arid regions of eastern Iran. Otherwise in India they are completely extinct. But on the other hand, African cheetahs we can find in many African countries. Okay. Many African countries, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, cheetahs can be seen. From these countries now we are importing cheetahs. We are translocating them. We are locating them between different continents. Translocation. Namibia has the highest population of cheetahs in the world. Now from where we are bringing, previously we have brought from Namibia and South Africa also. The present news is we are bringing from Botswana also. Okay. So now you read the news, now it will make sense. India, Botswana formally announced a translocation of 8 cheetahs to India as a part of Project Cheetah. Okay, so let me show you the image of Botswana because normally, even if we are reading the environment, when any country is in news, you should read its location because preparation is integrated. You cannot read geography, environment, polity separately. So see here, this Botswana country in the African map. From this country, we are now importing the cheetahs. So what is Project Cheetah? It is launched in 2022 to reintroduce cheetahs to India after their extinction in the 1940s, 1950s. They are operated under the umbrella Project Tiger. So Project Tiger has been merged with Project Elephant and renamed as Project Tiger and Elephant. Now under this project, cheetah also being introduced. So Project Cheetah is a subcomponent of Project Tiger and Elephant. So previous 30 now they have introduced in Kuno National Park. So where is this Kuno National Park? It is in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, Kuno National Park is in Madhya Pradesh. So just roughly drawing, I don't have map here. So if this is roughly the Madhya Pradesh state, so Kuno National Park will be here somewhere. Okay, and this another proposal is being made to introduce in another place called Gandhi Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay, it is here. So Gandhi Sagar. This Gandhi Sagar is here, and this Kuno National Park. This is Madhya Pradesh map. Roughly, I'm speaking. So previous cheetahs we have introduced here. So roughly there are already 30 cheetahs in this region. Why we are introducing in this region? Because the area in this region is very wide. They are naturally suited to cheetahs' natural wildlife habitat, and also there is less population here. We cannot endanger humans by introducing cheetahs. So considering all the factors, it is best to introduce in these two areas. Okay, already in Kuno, already there are almost 30 cheetahs existing as of December 2025. What is the implementing agency? National Tiger Conservation Authority, formed under the Wildlife Protection Act is the agency who will provide the technical assistance, knowledge, how to manage tigers, what is the behavior of the tigers, how close you can go, how close you cannot go. Okay, all of these are given by Wildlife Institute of India. Then there is Cheetah Project Steering Committee. So this National Tiger Conservation Authority established a special committee to oversee, evaluate and advise on implementation of Project Cheetah. What are the objectives? To establish breeding cheetah population. So we are introducing some set of population. Now we are hoping they will breed and they will grow naturally from here. So to use cheetah as a charismatic flagship and umbrella species to garner resources for restoring open forest and savanna system. So to restore these grasslands, just like I told you, to restore the food chain, we are introducing these cheetahs. Then to use this opportunity for eco-development and eco-tourism. So wherever cheetahs and these tigers are living, in next article we will see, we will not use that region for development where there is high natural wildlife. So for eco-development and eco-tourism. So to use this region for wildlife safari, so people are excited to see cheetahs in their natural habitat, etc., which will also provide livelihoods for the local community. So for these multiple objectives, we are reintroducing cheetahs. So this another region which is being considered for introduction of this cheetahs is the Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. It is in the eastern Madhya Pradesh. I'm not sure about the location. Please double confirm it. Okay. Part of Kathiargir Dry Deciduous Forest. Okay. River Chambal. The river which is passing through is the River Chambal. Then the dam surrounding this is Gandhi Sagar Dam backwater. Okay. Trees in this region: Salai, Kardai, Dudu, Tendu, Palash, etc. Wild dogs are doles, Chinkara, leopard, otter, magar crocodile, etc. living in this region. Historical part of the world famous Chaturbhuj Nala rock shelters. So there are some rock shelters in this region which are historically important, which are Chaturbhuj Nala rock shelters. So they are also in these regions. So this is about the project Cheetah. Moving on to the next one, tiger reserves. So we have something called tiger reserve. So let me tell you another part. So any protected area or including biosphere also. Biosphere reserve I am hesitating to call protected area because biosphere reserve is natural recognition of something already existing. If humans are already living there, we will not say humans to vacate it. But protected areas means they are specially formed to protect wildlife. So if needed, humans can be vacated from it. Okay. So biosphere reserves are protected areas. The structure of this usually this. There will be a core area. What is core area? That means the density of wildlife here is very higher. It is very important. So take an example, something called tiger reserve. So in 1973, we have started this project called, in 1972, we have started this Wildlife Protection Act. We have implemented this Protection Act. And immediately after, we have started this Project Tiger in 1973 to increase the number of tiger population, because just like cheetah has gone extinct, now tiger numbers are decreasing by this time. So we have realized that now we have to protect tigers also, otherwise we will lose another big cat. So in 1973 we started something called Project Tiger. So under Project Tiger we have formed something called tiger reserves, dedicated areas for tigers, special exclusive areas for tigers. So core area means where this high density of population exists. Like for example, tiger reserves, tigers are high in this region, numbers are in this region. Then this core is surrounded by something called buffer. Buffer means a region which is around this core area to manage, regulate this. Like I will tell you. Then around this buffer we will have something called ecological sensitive zones or ESZs. So now I will tell you everything. Now this is the normal human habitation, normal area. So here you can do mining, here you can do agriculture, here you can do tourism. There are no restrictions in normal areas, in any activity here. Okay, you can play games here, you can do anything here. You can cut the trees here, anything. Normal allowed activities are allowed here. But the moment you started going closer to any protected area, this is the structure. First you will come across something called ecological sensitive zone. So this every protected area has to announce something called ecological sensitive area. Like this is my tiger reserve. This is my tiger reserve. Do not come near 2 kilometers to this tiger reserve. If something mining is happening here, they cannot come inside this ecological sensitive zone. Government can say like this. Government can put restrictions. Then there will be a buffer zone which acts as buffer between core and outside world. What is buffer? That means it is a cushion. It is a separating space between the original main habitat, core. Animals can come here, but the density of animals is lesser here. It is a safety space to avoid friction between humans and animals. In the core, this is exclusive living area of the animals. No one is allowed to do any activity. So as you go inside, the restrictions keep on increasing. Here, okay, in ecological sensitive zone, maybe some communities may be allowed to collect firewood. They may be allowed to do some agriculture. or some limited mining may be allowed. In buffer, restrictions will increase. Mining completely banned, agriculture completely banned, maybe still firewood collection may be allowed here. Tourism may be allowed here. Now in core, everything is banned. Tourism is not allowed, agriculture is not allowed, firewood collection is not allowed, mining is not allowed. So as you go on inside, restrictions keep on increasing. This is the broad structure. Okay. Now let us come back to our news. What are the structure I just told you? Not many state governments, not many governments or authorities, whoever is responsible, they are not implementing this structure properly. So Supreme Court recently has issued directions. So Supreme Court issued directions for protection of tiger reserves to address increasing human-wildlife conflict due to habitat degradation, unregulated tourism and corridor fragmentation. See, this is what happens when we don't follow the structure. When this is core area, this is buffer zone, and that particular authority did not even declare ESZ. Let's say ESZ is mandatory. They have to declare ecological sensitive zone. But when we declare ecological sensitive zone, there will be restrictions. We cannot do mining. Government will lose revenue. So some entities, some authorities intentionally not declaring this zone. Then there is buffer. Then there is core. Let's say in buffer activities need to be regulated, but government has given permission to lay a highway road inside the buffer. What will happen? This tiger population who are living here, tigers, these big cats need very large area. They all need larger area. Previously they used to go till here, but now here there is a big highway, so they cannot cross this way. What they are doing? They need that area, excess area. So they are going into human habitations, living in this region or this region. Okay, it can be for elephants, not just for tiger, any wildlife. So humans in this region will be harmed. This is what we are calling human-animal conflict. Okay, or human-wildlife conflict. HWC or HAC. So these animals are even sometimes if you pass it through core, now it will be a very serious situation. Or you allow mining. You are not supposed to allow mining in the buffer zone, but government has allowed mining in the buffer zone. Now it will be a threat. So because these kind of things happening, now Supreme Court has taken some steps. It has given some directions like no tiger safaris in core areas or designated tiger corridors. Permitted only on non-forest or degraded forest in buffer zone. In core areas, this tiger safari is completely not allowed. Wherever it is core area, it is not allowed. If it is in buffer zone, again in forest areas it is not allowed. In non-forest areas, degraded forest land, it is allowed. Then comes the night tourism. In core areas, critical tiger habitats, it is completely banned. Okay, it is factual. Whatever I am reading now, it is factual. Now that you have understood the concept. Then there are prohibited activities. Commercial mining, polluting industries, major hydro projects, exotic species introduction. That means outside species which are not natural to that region. They can be harmful. If you introduce a plant species which is not belonging to that region, it will suck all the water from that land, depriving the other plants from the water. If you introduce, let's say there is a lake, and there are some animals, there is a well-developed evolved food chain here. Small fishes are eaten by the large fishes, plants are eaten by the small fish. There is established food web here, food chain here. Now you are bringing a fish from the outside. It is not having any natural predators in this region. What it will do? It will eat all the small fish and plants. So all the plants and all the small fish will die. But no one eats this food, this fish, because it is not natural for that region. It is having not a natural predator. So alien species, this is called exotic or alien species. Whenever we are introducing exotic or alien species to any region, it is a natural threat to that region. Okay. So it is prohibited. Low flying aircraft, commercial firewood extraction barred in this buffer or fringe. Fringe means edge areas in the edge. All reserves must notify eco-sensitive zones. So those who are not notifying, those authorities managing those particular tiger reserves, you should immediately notify it. States must prepare revised tiger conservation plans within stipulated timelines. Now Supreme Court is telling, no, now you take care. Supreme Court is giving very clear guidelines to all states and authorities to implement all the protection measures. Core and buffer areas to be notified within 6 months. Natural disasters, status of human-wildlife conflict to ensure rapid relief. So, in this example, just like I told you, if anyone is dying in this particular region, they have not done any mistake on their own. But government is not giving any compensation for them. Actually, the perpetrator here is the government who has laid the highway here. So, in this kind of deaths in this human-wildlife conflict, now Supreme Court has said you consider it as a natural disaster like a cyclone or earthquake. You give them ex gratia of compensation of 10 lakhs. Okay, draft human-wildlife conflict mitigation guidelines to be drafted by Natural Tiger Conservation Authority. So Supreme Court is directing this National Tiger Conservation Authority to come with guidelines on how to reduce this human-wildlife conflict. Okay. So what are tiger reserves? They are legally protected areas under Project Tiger, just like I told you. So they have core areas, inviolable, no tourism or commercial activity allowed. Then around core areas, we will have buffer areas, which are sustainably usable zones. You can allow some activities, but in a sustainable way. Okay, like limited tourism. Who declares tiger reserves? So state governments can propose it. NTCA will approve it. NTCA will approve it under Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, then state government can notify it. Okay, so initial proposal comes from state governments and approval comes from NTCA. Till now, India, there are 58 biosphere national tiger reserves. In India, there are 58 tiger reserves. Most recent ones are Madhav Tiger Reserve and Ratapani Wildlife Sanctuary in Madhya Pradesh. These two are recently declared tiger reserves. Both are in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, 57, 58. So they are notified by state government. Their proposal comes from state government, approval comes from NTCA, and after approval from NTCA, state governments notify it. Okay, as per the provisions of WPM. No alteration of boundaries can be made on except of recommendation of NTCA. So once they have decided this is the area, from this point around 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers, this is the area we are declaring as tiger reserve. Once it is approved and notified, state government cannot alter it. Okay, except on recommendation of NTCA and approval of National Board for Wildlife. So we have seen National Board for Wildlife. It is the topmost authority for protection of wildlife headed by Prime Minister of India. So to change the boundaries, you need approval from this National Board for Wildlife. Okay, so this is the tiger reserves. Let us stop here. Let us continue from this International Big Cat Alliance in our next session. Thank you.